What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am back. We are taking a look at the Nagant sniper rifle. It came out in the Gauge Historical Pack a little while ago, but people are still raving about this weapon. Lots of people saying it could be the best weapon in the game, which, I don't know, I'll still stick by shotguns, just overall as a class, dominating, and snipers being a close second. But I do feel that overall, this is the most versatile and useful in the sniper category. I'm going to quickly run through why. It outperforms the Rattlesnake in DPS, and the additional accuracy the Rattlesnake has really doesn't come close. And while it has half the total ammo, I found myself so up close and personal when using this weapon, mainly due to some of the optional modifications you can bring with you. Ammo wasn't too much of a problem, though the situation is slightly better on the Rattlesnake, but the additional damage makes it so strong for Overkill and Deathwish, where the Rattlesnake starts to fall off. Then we have the R93, the previously most all-around versatile sniper in the category. It has that strong damage, which really worked well up to Overkill, but did occasionally miss those kill shots on the Deathwish difficulty, but it has lower rate of fire, and while it has 5 more bullets and an extra bullet in the mag, I still don't find myself benefiting from it, and it has innately lower accuracy and stability. They are slightly dodgy stats. Stability on it will probably come out higher, simply because I recommend the iron sight with the Nagant sniper rifle, which lowers your stability. You can choose another sight and you'll see gameplay with both. If you do, your stability with Nagant will be perfectly fine and will outperform the R93 again. The Thanatos is not a sniper that I feel I can truly compare with the Nagant. While the Nagant is a kill weapon, the Thanatos is purely for utility, anti-bulldozer. Yes, the Nagant can't take out bulldozers in 2 shots, but does it really need to, especially when playing with a team? Someone's likely to bring a Thanatos or high explosive rounds, and you can comfortably run the Nagant as a kill weapon to top the scoreboards there. One of the main problems, though, and this is with sniper rifles overall, I find them very skill heavy, and that would be a problem with these shotguns. However, all their skills are in one straight line in the enforcer tree, and you want to go up there anyway. With snipers, you force yourself all the way up into the mastermind build for Kilmer. Yes, it lets you pick up Inspire, as I do on my build, but then you also have to quickly move over to drop some points into Technician, get things like Sharpshooter and Rifleman. And then you're still lacking that utility or the equipment you want to bring. I had to pop my points into Fugitive. I didn't feel there was much focus with my build, so I ended up with a dodge sniper build, which is overall quite a strong way to run it. You want as much mobility and speed as possible to get out the way and reposition yourself, but it just doesn't feel quite as functional as some of my tank shotgun builds, for example, even the dodge akimbo build. And that's just the nature of sniper rifles and the Mosin's reliance on Kilmer most notably. I did find the reload speed on it a little bit slow and clunky. Kilmer felt necessary to reduce it to about a 2.5 second, 2 second if you're not loading an empty chamber. But no, I was still very impressed with Nagant overall. I'm going to take a look at this thing's modifications, and then I'm going to move on to look at the damage and why that additional 30 damage it has over the R93 really does make it a perfect all-around Deathwish weapon, which is good to see, because Deathwish is a little hollow. There are only a certain number of weapons you can use, and I'm really glad Nagant is now one of them, in my eyes anyway. So as I said, modifications. You want the long barrel. That's additional 6 stability. That is huge. Sod the concealment. You don't need that stuff anyway, more than likely. So long barrel wins out by an absolute mile on the barrel modification. The main problem with it is it's a difficult achievement, or at least a frustrating achievement to try and pick up. It took me about half an hour to do. I went into a bank heist solo. You'll see a bit of gameplay of it, me earning the achievement there. I brought the AI with me to cover my back, just normal difficulty as I may have said. And it's a simple case of standing around the back of the bank waiting for them to rappel in the only spot they do, and then it's just a tedious job of shooting them down. As I said, took about half an hour. Another mission where you might do this more naturally is the Hoxton Breakout Day 2. I do find it a bit of a nuisance trying to tell your team, because it's not the easiest heist to get onto Day 2 for, to wait around while I pick up this achievement, but enemies do rappel in the atrium and in the main building where Hoxton is analysing the data. So it's not too hard to pick up the achievement, but as I said, just a bit of a nuisance. And as long as you follow those steps, you'll probably be able to do it again in about half an hour. Then the bayonet, that's so cool that it has a bayonet. I love melee weapons, as you know, and the bayonet makes this weapon so much more functional at close range. Additional knockback, additional melee damage. It means if you're running a melee build, this has become almost an essential weapon to bring. Bit of a pain, I like the GL40 on my melee builds, but Nagant with the bayonet, it does outperform, and again, it makes this weapon's ammo capacity a little easier to deal with because I find myself up close and personal, immediately able to pick up the ammo, and it doesn't necessarily require fully loaded. Gadget-wise, again, up to you. You might want the military laser module for that additional stability. Again, you don't need that concealment at all. Then sight-wise, now you've got two choices. Do you want to maintain your high stability and bring maybe the speculator sight? That won't cover up too much of your screen and it keeps you nice and accurate. Or alternatively, do you want to go with the iron sight? I recommend the iron sight. It makes it such a good weapon at both range and up close and personal, and while it does drop that stability, I found the additional accuracy it gave me just because it gave me such a clean view of the screen was a godsend, and I just felt so much more efficient and comfortable with it when moving around maps using the iron sight. So I do recommend that, but I'm not going to sway you away from speculator if stability is something you rate particularly on sniper rifles. Finally, stock is a wasted attachment. Discreet stock, it's just a concealment one. I really wish they'd stop giving concealment snipers. It's not as functional as they originally thought it would be. You're better just running a silenced pistol and not putting a silencer on your sniper rifle, in my personal opinion. So that's the modifications. An excellent weapon. We're going to look into the damages on Overkill first, and then on to Deathwish. I tried to cut down on this section a little bit, trying to give you a little less of the unimportant information and just getting down to the nitty gritty. Does it kill? How quickly does it kill? And who's it going to kill? And who's going to become a problem against this weapon? Okay, so for me this is the most important section of the review, mainly because I'm reviewing a sniper rifle, where if it takes an additional shot to kill, you're not talking about maybe 0.2 of a second, you're talking about a whole second, time with which you are getting shot by a hail of bullets and could therefore die. So sniper rifles hitting those 1 to 2 shot kill ratios is hugely important, and overall the Mosin has absolutely passed this test with shining colours. On the overkill difficulty, FBI SWATs are killed 1 shot to the body, 1 shot to the head. Heavy SWATs, 1 shot to the body, 1 shot to the head. Shields, that's 1 shot to the body, 1 shot to the head, unless you're shooting through a shield itself, then that's 2 shots to the body, but still 1 to the head. Then we have tasers, 1 shot to the head, 2 to the body, but they have big enough helmets where I'm sure you can land those headshots frequently enough. Cloakers, 3 shots to the body, so you're starting to worry that cloakers might be the main nemesis for this weapon on the overkill difficulty, but it's still a 1-shot headshot thanks to that high headshot multiplier. Finally, bulldozers. Now, bulldozers are where I say, well, you might want to turn to a secondary. You want to get that faceplate off. Once the faceplate is off, it's a simple 1-shot headshot. However, you're not going to want to shoot him to the body. It's just not ammo efficient, even with the natural penetration of sniper rifles. If you are aiming for just the faceplate, you're shooting the faceplate off, I put this to about a 7 or an 8 bullet average kill. Moving on to Deathwish difficulty, which is where the rattlesnake really falls off and where the R93 has some difficulties just because it doesn't quite hit those kill points. The FBI SWATs, though, they're still killed in 1 bullet to the head or the body. The heavy SWATs, that's 1 shot to the head or 2 to the body. Don't forget, though, these heavy SWATs, you usually can't shoot them to the body with most weaponry, but snipers really don't care. Gensec Elites, of course, the unique Deathwish enemies, 1 to the head, 1 to the body, just as easy as that. Then shields, again, 1 shot to the head, 1 shot to the body, unless you're shooting through the shield, it's 2 shots to the body through the shield. Tasers are the problem, though. It doesn't quite land that 1-shot headshot, it just falls beneath, meaning that's a 2-shot headshot. So if you don't have the shot-proof skill, which I doubt you will for this build, I doubt you're going to want to go that far up through the technician skill line, it's more than likely after shooting that taser once, even to the head, you're going to get shocked on Deathwish, which has often been the result of my death when using the Mosin. So that's one of the main issues with this weapon. It does fall down against tasers. It's a 3-shot to the body though, so if you're shooting them from range or they're focusing another target, it won't take you too long to take them out. Cloakers are a 1 or a 2-shot depending on how progressed through your perk tree you are. If you've got Fast and Furious and helmet popping, then you're going to absolutely destroy them. 1 shot to the head, and unfortunately it's a 4-shot to the body. You really want to land that headshot. Cloakers, as many of you know, have a huge headshot multiplier. Please try and use that, otherwise you are going to get down. And unless you're bringing something like Pistol Messiah, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because you do need to spread those perks thinly, you're going to have a tough time reviving yourself on Death Wish. Finally, Skulldozers. It's a 2-shot to their head as opposed to the 1 for regular bulldozers on Overkill difficulty. And it's a tough one, Skulldozers. You really want to leave them to the rest of your team. Hopefully someone will be more specialised to it. I'd say it's about a 12-shot kill if you're just hitting that faceplate consistently, bullet after bullet. But that's going to take you about 15 seconds, during which time it could be right on top of you. And you're just praying dodge is going to carry you through at that point. So the main issues on Death Wish: tasers and Skulldozers, or regular bulldozers with their sagas. You do have to worry about those, but you've got to imagine if you're playing with a team of 3 others, they're going to have a way to take them out a little easier, and you can just focus on being an absolute slayer of enemies. You just destroy the regular enemies. There's something very important about being able to one-shot body Gensec elites, FBI SWATs, and heavy SWATs. They're such a tough set of enemies for other weapons to take down, especially from range. This weapon just does not struggle at all. Not to mention how good it is at close range with some of those additional modifications. I am a huge fan of the Nagant sniper rifle. I'm going to give this weapon a 9.5 out of 10. It's not quite perfect, it does fall down, and I think Locomotive still outperforms it as a weapon overall, and you may want to try and look at using the Spaz 12 or the Predator 12 gauge shotgun in the primary slot, and I do still stand by shotguns being slightly more powerful. But if you want to change this up, and maybe if your accuracy is just so damn good you don't miss, I have to say snipers are definitely the weapons of the skilled. If you're able to use these, especially seeing as how good it is at close range, you can tear through Death Wish difficulty with a sniper rifle, which is really great to see. Racking up high body counts, it definitely outperforms the R93 for me, and the Rattlesnake isn't really something that you have to contend with on Death Wish difficulty. That lower damage just doesn't cut the mustard. You need to one-shot those FBI SWATs, elites, and heavy SWATs, and that's exactly what it does. And while the R93 does something very similar, that additional headshot multiplier from the 30 damage it has over it, plus the additional fire rate, which is probably more important, is going to give you those one-shot kills on shields to the head, even through the shield, 2-shot on taser, and again, that one-shot headshot on Cloaker, which is all important on taking out the bane of Death Wish. So, I love it. I really do. I recommend you guys, if you haven't picked up this DLC, take a look at it, if only for this weapon. There are some other awesome things you can pick up, especially the Trench Knife, which is now one of my favourite, if not the best melee weapon in the game. I'm a huge fan. See you all in the next one.